Great Northwoods to the Rock Mount Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, Bangor police are asking the public to help identify a robbery suspect based on new video from the scene. Plus, Maine health professionals gathered at the State House yesterday to protest RFK Jr.'s cabinet nomination. And the Maine Agricultural Trade Show is in its 84th year. We'll get a preview as it heads into its second day. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. I figured it out on my own. Woo-hoo-hoo! Off to a good start this morning. Hey, it looks like we're going to have a chillier day than yesterday. It's not really going to snow. It didn't amount to anything yesterday, but it is going to be windy. So let's get a look at that forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Comfort Shoes can help you find a perfect fit for your new winter footwear. Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Here we go this morning. A small craft advisory is up along the coast, and that will last until about 11 p.m. tonight, as active surf will be expected along the coast until the winds begin to calm down. We do have some reduced visibility across parts of the Millinocket area. I doubt this is fog, more than likely probably a little bit of snow taking place this morning. As we look at the radar and satellite, we are seeing a few returns of a few snow flurries and snow showers this morning that will be tapering off throughout the day as things begin to calm down, and the clouds will also be breaking up coming up soon as well. So what we're seeing now will switch over to a little bit of sunshine coming up later on today. So futurecast moving forward, going with a partly to maybe mostly cloudy sky later on today. Less clouds later on tonight, except farther off to the north, and then some sunshine to start things off for your Thursday. Some gusty winds reaching up to about 20 miles per hour today, maybe 25 miles per hour. The winds will start to back off later on tonight and becoming even calmer as we head towards your Thursday. So for today, lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy. Northwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly to mostly cloudy sky with temperatures in the lower 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Thank you, Devin. We'll get a look at that full 5-day a little later on. Bangor police are asking for the public's help in identifying the suspect in an armed robbery that occurred at a Circle K convenience store. Police say it happened at the store located at the intersection of Broadway and Griffin Road on Monday. This is video of the suspect approaching the store through the area where gas pumps are located. Police say the suspect is described as a white male between 5'8" and 6'2", weighing 250 to 300 pounds. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Bangor Police Department at 207-947-7384 or Detective Robert Hallett. You can also leave an anonymous tip, and we have all the contact information in this story on our website at foxbangor.com. A Corinna man was arrested after shots were allegedly fired during an incident involving a stolen front loader Tuesday morning. That's according to a Facebook post from the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office. The post states the Penobscot Regional Communications Center received a report of individuals who appeared to be stealing a large front-end loader on the Upper Notch Road in Garland. It was reported shortly thereafter that the front-end loader was now in the driveway of the complainant and destroying vehicles. According to the Sheriff's Office, the initial investigation suggests that the individuals exited the home and fired several rounds at the front-end loader. After the shots were fired, the machine reversed out of the driveway and fled the scene. Around 6:10, dispatch received another report that a front-end loader was driving in the roadway. Law enforcement located the machine, and the single occupant surrendered without incident, then told officers he had been shot. The man was taken to the hospital for treatment. Upon his release, he was arrested and taken to the Penobscot County Jail. The front-end loader, or the front-end operator, the operator of the front-end loader has been identified as 37-year-old Michael Thompson of Corinna and has been charged with aggravated criminal mischief. The investigation remains active. An Orrington business was heavily damaged in a fire 2 nights ago. According to Orrington's Fire Chief Scott Stewart, crews were called to Labs Automotive on the River Road around 7 p.m. on Monday night. When crews arrived there, there were visible flames coming from one of the garage bays. Crews were able to contain the flames to one bay and quickly knock down the fire, but the building still sustained heavy smoke and water damage. The owner of the garage, Frank Levabour, says he hopes his team will be able to overcome this setback and get back to work as soon as possible.
We want to thank everybody that has reached out. I've received hundreds of text messages from the people in the community, and we really appreciate that.
No one was at the garage at the time of the fire, and there were no injuries. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Maine health professionals gathered at the State House on Tuesday in opposition to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s cabinet nomination. Deborah Dietrich is the former vice president of Maine Health and the former state dental director for DHHS. Dietrich told listeners at the State House that she's concerned about Kennedy's nomination after President-elect Donald Trump named Kennedy as his pick to run DHHS. Dietrich says she's wary of Kennedy's anti-vaccination stance and his distrust of water fluoridation.
And we have one of the highest K through 12 immunization rates in the whole country, which is great, and we want to keep it that way. I unfortunately think that if he is approved to this position, people will die.
Dietrich says she has encouraged Senators Angus King and Susan Collins to oppose Kennedy's appointment, and she's urging others who oppose it to reach out to their legislators. Republican lawmakers are speaking out against the governor's proposed budget. At a press conference on Tuesday, the Republicans pointed out that there are 5 new proposed taxes in the budget, including an increase to the cigarette tax, a streaming tax for services like Netflix and Hulu, a tax on ambulance services, and a 70-cent tax on every prescription filled. Republicans say as long as those taxes are included in the proposed budget, no Republicans will vote to approve it.
Look, the message that I think folks need to take away from today is there's no need to raise taxes on Maine people across the board. And secondly, there are no votes from the Republicans to do that. And if they want to take that and say, well, fine, we're going to do it anyway, and we're just going to ram it down the throats of Maine people, that's on them.
The Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee will be holding several public hearings and bipartisan conversations to make changes to the governor's budget before it heads to a full vote of the legislature. The newly appointed public advocate cleared her first hurdle to being confirmed on Tuesday. Heather Sanborn, a former legislator and lawyer from Portland, was nominated to the position by Governor Mills after current public advocate Bill Harwood announced he would be retiring. The public advocate is charged with protecting and pushing for actions that are in the public's best interest when it comes to policies surrounding electricity and utility rates. A confirmation hearing was held in the Energy and Utilities Committee on Tuesday.
Instead, my role is to exercise independent judgment on any particular legislative proposal or matter that arises before the PC or regionally, to ensure that the position I will take promotes the stabilization and lowering of prices paid by Maine consumers.
The committee voted to advance Sanborn's nomination by a vote of 7-5. It now heads to the full Senate, who will vote on confirmation. Advocates for trauma and abuse victims services rallied support at the State House on Tuesday for what they say is an urgent need for more funding. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
We're looking at about cuts to about half of the funding for those services.
According to Elizabeth Ward Saxel, the executive director for the Maine Coalition Against Sexual Assault, cuts to federal funding threatens the viability of victim services in Maine. Some of those services include the Domestic Violence Helpline, Pine Tree Legal Services, Children's Advocacy Services, which helps children who have been sexually abused, and victims advocates like those that help the victims of the Lewiston mass shooting.
Maine is fortunate to have dedicated professionals who specialize in guiding families through their darkest hours. In the early morning of October 26th, victim advocates from the Attorney General's Office Homicide Team were already on the ground in Lewiston doing this critical work. They would eventually help more than 200 people.
Saxel adds that the governor's proposed budget allocates $3 million to help with the funding gap, which is only about half of what is needed to help keep the services fully funded. Senator Ann Carney says she submitted a bill that would make up the remaining funds.
This crisis is one that spans several years, as I mentioned. And As many other states have done, we need to step in and continue with state funds to bridge this gap.
Saxel says if they don't receive the funding, the impact would be devastating.
I mean, it would mean that the availability of services like those that Pine Tree Legal provides, like legal services for the elderly, domestic violence resource centers, sexual assault support centers, they would both be reduced in the number of services available, and in some places there wouldn't be services available at all, and we'd have to travel further. Survivors would have to travel further in order to receive those services.
At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 6:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, young people were advocating for the agriculture industry in Augusta yesterday during the state's 84th annual agricultural trade show. We'll hear from them. But before we go, let's take another quick look at that forecast. Partly cloudy today. We do have a bit of a breeze picking up, a high of 23 degrees, chillier than yesterday, and it will feel that way because of that breeze, dropping down to a low of 7 overnight. Tonight will be colder than last night as well. Tomorrow, pretty similar, partly cloudy. We do have some sun though, high of 22 degrees for your Thursday. We'll be right back.
Orono Arcade has expanded, and we have dozens of new games to play. We have prize machines, including an entire section dedicated to your favorite modern games. We have games from the 80s and games from the 90s. Plus, we have the largest selection of indie arcade games in the country, along with 9-hole blacklight mini golf. We also have a brand new birthday party room. Hey, we have it all. Come on up to Orono and experience one of the most unique family entertainment centers in Maine.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Hi, Eastern Maine. Watch Person, Place, or Thing right here on ABC7, weekdays starting at 10 a.m.
In this courtroom,
I see somebody who's lying to me.
if you lied,
You have zero evidence.
you will be
I'm screwed.
denied.
Is he lying?
He was intoxicated.
What? Real cases.
What about that?
Real litigants.
You got denied.
The People's Court.
All this week at 4 on ABC7.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith. Millions of dollars in funding will go towards more rural development in Maine. Jared Golden's office announced that Maine communities will receive over $2 million in funding for childcare and first responders. The town of Hancock will receive the largest chunk of funding, with over $1.5 million allocated to replace the Cemetery Road Fire Station with a more modernized two-story facility. Right now, it kind of just looks like a garage. Other projects benefiting from the funding include the Millinocket Memorial Library, Responsible Pet Care in Norway, and the Beth Brunswick Memorial Fund for Children. The holidays may have passed, but we have a couple more months to go until we see longer days and more sunshine. And if you suffer from seasonal affective disorder, that can seem a little daunting. Experts say the disorder may be more common than you think, but due to the stigma, folks may be reluctant to talk about it or seek help. In fact, in Maine, it is extremely common. The disorder is common in winter's darker months in all the states and is frequently involving an increase of symptoms of depression, including less interaction with people, changes in normal sleeping patterns or eating habits, and withdrawing from activities. Folks say it's best not to self-diagnose or rely on family and friends to make a judgment on how you should address the disorder. Rather, seek help from an actual clinician and be patient with whatever therapy you undertake.
Taking realistic small steps to feel better as well is really important. We tend to want to shoot for the stars and take those big leaps, but it's often that the little steps are what makes the big impact, but they can feel tedious when somebody's not feeling well or feeling a little bit depressed. Those small steps can feel daunting, and often we want to make those big steps, and sometimes that's where professional coaching and assistance can help.
Haley says if you're dealing with seasonal affective disorder, it's best to avoid alcohol, try to increase your physical activity, and get enough sleep, but not too much. Also be vigilant about what, if any, social media you're consuming to make sure the content you view is not contributing to your depressive symptoms. She says even just accomplishing small tasks like getting out and running errands can be a boost. The Maine Agricultural Trade Show is in its 84th year. It returns to the Augusta Civic Center for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. Our Callie Warren attended the event's kickoff.
I think if people are interested in learning about Maine agriculture, this is the place to go.
Hundreds flocked to the Augusta Civic Center on Tuesday for the start of the Agricultural Trades Show. The trades show offers something for everyone in agriculture, including farm resources.
We use it around waterways and stuff like that.
Equipment, connections, and more.
This is really a great opportunity to come together and hear about issues that are current, learn new things that you can apply to your farm.
Governor Janet Mills recently proclaimed 2025 as the Year of Youth in Agriculture for Maine.
It's also just super exciting to see other youth who are involved.
And at the trade show, teens involved in the industry are making their voices heard.
And we really need people working in agriculture because we need agriculture to survive. So I think that's really important.
It's really great to hear different perspectives and also to be able to talk with people who are really making a difference in agriculture in Maine.
Seeing what's in our own state and learning new opportunities, learning new perspectives from agriculturalists is a big portion of what the Ag Trade Show is all about.
The show also shines a spotlight on education.
We're here for your research, we're here for your education.
And the amount of agricultural resources available through the University of Maine.
And we help with workshops and education. We support agriculture, horticulture, 4-H, food and nutrition, so a lot of the Maine food system.
The trade show ends on Thursday, leaving those interested with a few more days to check it out. In Augusta, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Looks like they had a good turnout. I'm glad. All right, the time now is 6:17. After the break, fires continue to rage on in Los Angeles County and surrounding areas in Southern California. With more hurricane force winds forecast today, we'll get a look at the destruction as Good Morning Maine continues.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
This morning will be a delicious competition.
Good morning, America.
Two of America's favorite bagel shops going head to head.
Soft and delicious.
In the GMA Bagel Battle. Plus, Keke Palmer live, reuniting with Michael this morning on GMA.
Tanning season is here, and Gold Star Cleaners is the place to tan with over 25 years experience in the industry. Did you know all tanning packages don't expire for 2 full years? And no membership is required. Gold Star Cleaners doesn't upcharge. Tan in any bed or booth, and it's the same price. And we give every customer free Winkies for the best eye care protection in the industry.
January special, buy 20 visits and get $25 off. That's only $3.75 a tan. Start your glow at Gold Star Cleaners.
Ghirardelli Intense Dark. Bold. Rich. Intensely delicious dark chocolate. Ghirardelli Intense Dark. Makes life a bite better.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
At this hour, Los Angeles County is once again facing the most severe wind warning, raising the threat for new fires. Heavy winds could also spread existing fires. The massive Palisades fire was only 17% contained overnight, and the death toll from this disaster is rising. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the details.
This morning, emergency crews have transformed the Rose Bowl from a stadium to a wildfire command center as they prepare for yet another round of powerful winds, possibly fueling more fires in Southern California. High winds are forecast to hit again today from Central California to the Mexican border.
We're watching really closely for wind gusts of 45 to even 70 miles per hour.
Tens of thousands of people remain under mandatory evacuation orders. Another 84,000 people under evacuation warnings have been warned, be ready to leave.
When we're giving you warnings, that's the time you should probably think about going.
The two largest fires, the Palisades and Eaton fires, have destroyed more than 12,000 homes and businesses, killing at least 25 people.
It was literally shooting like fireballs. It looked like a volcano.
Zaire Calvin lost his sister in the Eaton fire. He says they got separated while evacuating.
That's where they found her remains. And I don't know why she didn't leave. It's just so much. It's just so much. The life has been sucked out of us as a community.
Susan Salser says she watched the Palisades fire approach her home from her kitchen window. The 85-year-old fought the fire with her 86-year-old husband, Winston, saving their home.
I used the hose to control the ground fire and stop that end of the house from burning.
Health officials have now issued a dust and ash advisory warning of air pollution as people across the area scramble for shelter.
I've reached out to a couple places, and a lot of them have already been taken. And one of them that I applied for upped the rent $1,000 an hour after I applied.
Realtors say prospective tenants are so desperate, some are offering to pay double the listed rent for an entire year up front. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
FEMA has opened 2 local disaster recovery centers. They've received 40,000 applications for assistance. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot more help in Southern California that's really needed. Okay, the time now is 6:21. Time to get a full look at our local forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Comfort Shoes can help you find a perfect fit for your new winter footwear. Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Here we go. A small craft advisory is posted until 11 p.m. this evening along the coast. Some gusty winds today and for parts of tonight will allow the ocean to be rather active, and it is rather active out there this morning at around 2 to 5 feet according to the buoys right nearby. Notice farther out towards sea we have some buoys reporting at around 12 feet, so an active start across the ocean this morning. Meanwhile, we have some reduced visibility near the Millinocket area. I think this is definitely more snow than anything else. I don't think this is fog because we are dealing with a few snow flurries and snow showers across the area this morning. The radar and satellite showing the clouds and even a few snow flurries and snow showers tracking from the north to the south. This will be tapering off later on today with the clouds beginning to break up as well. Outside of that, most of the northeast and even the upper Midwest looking rather quiet outside this morning. So Futurecast moving forward showing that partly to mostly cloudy sky today. We'll lose the clouds later on tonight, at least for most of us. The clouds will linger further off towards the north as we head towards our Thursday. A lot of sunshine to start things off. By the time we head towards Thursday night, more clouds will begin to move in, and those clouds will continue to increase as we head towards your Friday. Meanwhile, again, gusty winds up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour today. The winds will start to back off a little bit later on tonight, but even tomorrow, not looking too bad. The winds really beginning to calm down, so a nice quiet day as we head towards your Thursday. Our average high temperature is 28 degrees. We'll be below that today and tomorrow in the lower 20s, and then we're back in the upper 20s for your Friday. Then a little warm up Saturday into Sunday, upper 30s to lower 40s. Sharp cool down Monday to Tuesday, 16 degrees Monday, 8 degrees as we head towards your Tuesday. Be ready for those cooler temperatures. So for today, we have lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy outside, and the northwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have 7 degrees, mostly clear and breezy, and the northwest wind getting up to about 20 miles per hour at times. And for tomorrow, we have lower 20s, partly cloudy with a light and variable wind. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the upper 20s, mostly cloudy Saturday with a slight chance for rain and snow showers, highs in the lower 40s, upper 30s for your Sunday under a mostly cloudy sky.
Fire, water, storm damage, and even mold. We take care of you from cleanup to construction 24/7. When disaster strikes, tell your insurance company you want Penobscot Cleaning Services.
Friday nights are for basketball fans. Friday Night Fast Break is your source for everything that is Maine high school basketball. Highlights and local analysis. It's the only show that hits every corner of Maine's hardwood hoop landscape, high school, college, and professional. Join us Friday night during basketball season for Friday Night Fast Break on ABC 7 News at 11. Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Navigating health insurance can be so complex. There's no denying that. But at Community Health Options, our purpose is simple: provide our members with benefits they can actually use. It begins with a focus on helping our members stay healthy by offering plans and prices that fit their lives, while guiding them to receive the care they need. As a Maine-based health insurance company, we get what it means to live here. Community Health Options, made for members, powered by Mainers. Enroll today at healthoptions.org.
It's the Furniture Gallery's anniversary sale. Celebrate with us and save big. Queen mattresses as low as $198. Want to recline? Recliners start at just $298. Or upgrade to a power recliner for just $398. Reclining sofa and recliner, just $998. The Furniture Gallery anniversary prices don't stop there. Refresh your living room. Sofas starting at just $448. Complete your bedroom, 5-piece set for only $898. Support our Maine family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. This morning, the Senate kicks off more confirmation hearings for President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. It comes as President Joe Biden prepares to deliver his farewell address to the nation. Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
Today, President-elect Trump's pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi faces her Senate confirmation hearing. She's likely to face questions over Trump's pledge to use the Justice Department to pursue revenge on his political enemies, and her public statements backing Trump in his efforts to challenge the 2020 election results. Bondi's hearing comes a day after Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faced contentious questioning. The veteran and former Fox News host defending his qualifications to lead the world's most powerful fighting force and whether his management experience is sufficient.
We will reestablish trust in our military, addressing the recruiting crisis, the retention crisis, and readiness crisis in our ranks.
But he repeatedly deflected on questions from Democrats over allegations of sexual assault, excessive drinking, and his previous views of not wanting women in combat, instead casting himself as the victim of false and anonymous smears. Combat veterans on both sides of the aisle shared concerns but came to different conclusions.
You say you care about keeping our armed forces strong and that you like that our armed forces are meritocracy, then let's not lower the standards for you. You, sir, are a no-go at this station.
Senator Joni Ernst, a combat veteran herself, raising her own questions on Hegseth's stances.
As Secretary of Defense, will you support women continuing to have the opportunity to serve in combat roles?
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high.
But at the end of the day, she told a local Iowa radio station she was satisfied.
Joe Biden.
Meanwhile, President Biden is expected to address the nation for the final time tonight from the Oval Office, where he will tout what he says are his top achievements while in office.
It's clear. My administration is leaving the next administration with a very strong hand to play. And we're leaving them in America with more friends and stronger alliances, whose adversaries are weaker and under pressure. An America that once again is leading.
The last time Biden addressed the nation from behind the Resolute desk was when he announced his decision to withdraw from the 2024 campaign. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
With a ceasefire agreement expected to be announced in the coming hours or days, the Biden administration is turning its focus to what comes next for war-torn Gaza. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from Washington.
The fighting in Gaza could soon be over. Both Israel and Hamas have agreed to a U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal with an announcement expected in the coming days or even hours. And we're learning more about the Biden administration's vision for post-war Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken unveiling a plan that would see the international community, possibly the UN, handle day-to-day governance in Gaza, while a coalition of mostly Arab countries would provide security forces until the Palestinian Authority is able to take over.
Our imperative is not to turn back the clock to the way things were before October 7th. It's to forge a new reality for the Middle East in which all people are more secure, all can realize their national aspirations, all can live in peace.
Senior Israeli officials tell Fox News the inauguration of Donald Trump helped make this breakthrough possible. The president-elect sent his Mideast envoy, Steve Witkoff, to push the Israelis to accept the deal, hoping to have the first hostages home by the time Trump is sworn in next week.
He would like to get a Nobel Peace Prize. He would like to end all the wars. He's very clear-cut about that goal.
The Israeli government is also under increasing domestic pressure to make this deal happen, with time running out to save the remaining hostages.
We don't want more hostages left behind. And we don't want to hear about more hostages being killed in captivity.
President Biden is also taking credit, saying the deal is nearly identical to the one he proposed back in May. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A federal agency is reportedly preparing to file a lawsuit on hidden fees against the nation's largest apartment landlord. The Wall Street Journal reports that the Federal Trade Commission says Greystar Real Estate Partners has deceived potential renters by not disclosing and advertising certain fees. According to the report, the agency says the hidden fees included pest control, trash services, and background checks on tenants. The report adds Greystar says it works hard to improve how it discloses fees and promotes transparency. The potential lawsuit follows a rule finalized by the FTC last month to seek civil penalties on companies that accrue hidden fees, excluding the multifamily sector. The National Multifamily Housing Council reports Greystar manages more than 180,000 units across the country as of last year. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, an 8th grader in Hancock County noticed his school's 2 custodians were out sick last week, so he's decided to help out. We'll hear about his hard work after the break.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Caswell's Grocery Liquidation, where you shop first. Shop local. Great savings and selection. It's worth the trip. You won't be disappointed.
Your dollar goes a long, 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 long way at Caswell.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. With pure power unleashed and future-forward technology. Because every mile matters and every path leads to new possibilities. Qualified Chevy lessees can get this 2025 Silverado for around $409 a month, or current Chevy owners can get $5,000 total cash allowance.
Toss out the mess. Toss in the power sheet. Toss out pricey. Now toss like a boss. Arm & Hammer Power Sheets clean 3 times more small loads than premium towel detergent at the same price.
Gun Sports and Brewer knows that for fun, exercise, and meeting new friends, nothing is better than ice skating. Whether it's sailing down the ice, making a great pass, and scoring in a game of hockey, or the great strength and expression of figure skating. From the youngest child all the way to adulthood, anyone can enjoy the fun of skating. At Gun Sports, we supply the equipment for your skating fun for great prices, the proper fit, and service after the sale. Shop your locally owned Gun Sports Shop, Greenpoint Road in Brewer.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith, and today is National Bagel Day. Oh, I forgot to say what today even is. I started the show off with that too. Okay, today is Wednesday, January 15th. We got that out of the way. It's also 2025, if you forgot, so, let's just get that out of the way. Back to more important things. It's National Bagel Day. Also, not to mention, conveniently, it's also National Fresh Squeezed Juice Day. Like, what a better combo. I love bagels. I love fresh squeezed juice. That's also kind of a tongue twister. Okay, either way, I'd say it's a great day to support local bakeries, local breakfast spots. If breakfast is your favorite meal of the day, it's your lucky day. So go treat yourself to a good breakfast. Okay, now for some history. On this day in 1870, the donkey was first used as a symbol of the Democratic Party in Harper's Weekly magazine. In 1892, the inventor of the game of basketball first published the rules in the Triangle magazine. I forget that basketball has been around that long. It's kind of miraculous. We've been, as a world, we've been playing basketball for over 100 years, competitively and just for fun. It's kind of crazy to think about. Okay, moving on. In 1896, famed American photographer Matthew Brady. This is him, known for his portraits of politicians and soldiers in the Civil War. You've definitely seen some of his photos before if you haven't heard his name. He was really famous for photographing Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, and also other folks in the Civil War. He actually died alone and virtually forgotten in a hospital charity ward in New York City. This made me sad to hear about this morning, so I kind of honored his memory by going through his photos and learning more about him. And I think it's a good day for you to do that as well, because he played a really important role in our nation's history. Okay, moving on. In 1919, a storage tank collapsed in Boston, sending more than 2 million gallons of molasses flowing through the city's north end. This is an absolute nightmare. It's known as the Great Molasses Flood, and it caused extensive damage and actually killed 21 people. This is something that, I go to the north end every time I go to Boston, and it's kind of hard to imagine something causing that much destruction. And it's terrifying, too. It's like a tsunami of molasses. You would not be able to survive that if you saw it coming. Terrifying. Pretty cool photo there, though, to be able to explain the extensive damage. Okay, moving on. On this day in 1929, religious and civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia. We have MLK Jr. Day right around the corner, so we'll be celebrating him on that day as well. And in 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549, piloted by Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger III, landed in the Hudson River after the plane flew into a flock of geese shortly after takeoff. There were no fatalities, and he's considered a hero for this, because not every pilot could pull off something like this. Okay, for birthdays today, we have rapper Pitbull. He's 44 years old today. Actress Regina King is 54, and actress Dove Cameron is 29 years old today. The youngest one, you may not know of her, but she's in all sorts of young adult TV shows and films. Okay, moving on now. It's going to be colder today than yesterday, the past couple days, in fact, and tomorrow as well. We do have a bit of a cold freeze, a cold snap. It is January, so, let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Comfort Shoes can help you find a perfect fit for your new winter footwear. Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Here we go this morning. A small craft advisory is up along the coast, and that will last until about 11 p.m. tonight, as active surf will be expected along the coast until the winds begin to calm down. We do have some reduced visibility across parts of the Millinocket area. I doubt this is fog, more than likely probably a little bit of snow taking place this morning. As we look at the radar and satellite, we are seeing a few returns of a few snow flurries and snow showers this morning that will be tapering off throughout the day as things begin to calm down, and the clouds will also be breaking up coming up soon as well. So what we're seeing now will switch over to a little bit of sunshine coming up later on today. So futurecast moving forward, going with a partly to maybe mostly cloudy sky later on today. Less clouds later on tonight, except further off to the north. and then some sunshine to start things off for your Thursday. Some gusty winds reaching up to about 20 miles per hour today, maybe 25 miles per hour. The winds will start to back off later on tonight and becoming even calmer as we head towards your Thursday. So for today, lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy. Northwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly to mostly cloudy sky with temperatures in the lower 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Thank you, Devin. Well, an 8th grader in Hancock is teaching others what it means to have pride in your school by lending a helping hand when it's needed. Our Jody Hersey has the story.
8th grader Camden Clement noticed his school's 2 janitors were out sick last week, so he went to the office to ask if he could fill in for them.
I have to say this is the first time I've had a student volunteer to stay after school to perform the work of an employee. I have to say that's a first for me.
Camden picked up a broom and got to work.
I offered to sweep and do the trash can for the first day, but then the second I swept, did the trash can, and then mopped the school.
His gesture was not out of the ordinary, according to his mom, Heather, who says Camden's always been a helper, offering to shovel for one neighbor and even offering to walk a dog for another neighbor.
Yes, we want our kids to be good in school, we want them to be good at sports, but more importantly, what impact can they have on other people? And I think that's really more important.
Principal Gray says he hopes that Camden's act of kindness causes a ripple effect among the students and staff here at the Hancock Grammar School.
I think good deeds are contagious, right? You know, if everybody walked by and saw a piece of trash off the floor and picked it up, this place would be that much cleaner, right? And if everybody said one nice thing to somebody else, everyone would be that much happier. So I'm hoping that Camden has a ripple effect that he probably didn't even know or is aware of on the culture and the environment of our school.
In Hancock, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
That kind of makes me emotional. That does have a ripple effect. It's really important to do stuff like that. Oh, okay, I love it. I love it. Right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates. We'll be right back.
When it's time to replace your windows or doors, get the benefits of over 75 years of experience in building product sales and service from Hammond Lumber Company. In-store showroom displays with the latest design trends from top manufacturers. Knowledgeable, fully trained salespeople and in-house design services. A team of certified techs providing service after the sale, and job site delivery from 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. When it's time for new windows and doors, it's time to bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
When a big storm hits and damages our electrical system, we have a planned approach to get the most customers restored at a time.
We begin by assessing the scope of the damage and helping first responders address emergency situations like down lines across roads.
Then, before you see us in your neighborhoods, power restoration begins at our substations. From there, power travels long distances over these transmission lines.
They're next on the repair list, followed by the lines in your neighborhood.
As we work to bring the most customers online at a time, we'll keep you updated throughout the process. Please remember to report your outage either online or by calling us at 973-2000.
Please stay safe while we work hard to get your power back on.
Put a little more cash in your bank. Save money with half-off deals at foxbangor.com.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We'll start on the ice as Maine men's hockey picked up a sweep of 8th-ranked UMass Lowell over the weekend, and now they have another ranked opponent on their way up to the Alfond. Maine won by a score of 3-1 on Friday and 2-1 on Saturday in the sweep over the Riverhawks, moving them up to number 5 in the USCHO rankings, third in the pairwise, too. Coach Ben Barr has been looking for his team to be mentally tough in big moments, especially on the road, and Saturday night's third period showed him and his team just that.
It's not always going to be the prettiest games, and
You know, winning those kind of grittier games, it's good experience kind of going down the road and, you know, being in those tight one-goal games. Obviously, we want to, you know, expand the lead, but sometimes it's going to be tight like that, and just like how to close out games and close out weekends. We're just building confidence through this past weekend.
Harrison Scott scored 2 goals on Friday to go along with an assist on Saturday night for a 3-point weekend. Scott leads Maine now with 27 total points on the season, and their next highest scorer has just 18. Coach Barr says his assistant captain has taken his game to a whole new level this year.
He's found a new level mentally where he just keeps pushing himself and pushing himself and pushing. Like he never stops. He's got like he's got an edge. Mental edge, you know, where he's just like never satisfied, and that's why he keeps getting better.
Yeah, and I don't really focus on like just the scoring. I think it just comes from the process, and just again those chances and everything comes from the work ethic, the attack in the game, generating those chances.
The Black Bears open up a series with 17th ranked UConn this weekend. Friday's puck drop is 7 p.m. Let's pivot back to some football now. As we all know by now, Mike Vrabel has been officially introduced as the Patriots head coach. That happened on Monday. With the most cap space in the league, the 4th overall pick in the draft, a head coach, and a good young quarterback, the Patriots' future looks pretty bright. Vrabel was a hot commodity for a few coaching vacancies across the NFL, and he said Monday that Drake May is one of the reasons he chose to come home to Foxborough. May showed off his upside in 10 starts this year as a rookie, and here is what his new coach had to say when asked how he would help the young star reach his full potential.
Drake is going to be his own person, but I'm going to give him some things that I feel like are necessary to help us win football games, right? And when you look at statistically of what wins in the National Football League, our ability to affect the other team's quarterback and our ability to provide for an efficient quarterback and passing game is a high contributor to success.
Looking forward for the Vrabel era to start. Let's go to some high school sports now. We'll kick it off with a Class B boys hoops matchup down in Ellsworth. The Herman Hawks down east visiting the Eagles, 2 teams we should see at the Cross Center next month. First quarter, Eagles up. Kyle Kenny running the break here after the steal, and he has the last-second pass over to Hollis Grindle, who finishes it off. Here comes Herman now. Mason Kinney has it. He's going to get it from Caleb Dowdy right here, and Kinney pulls up for the long 2, makes the shot in traffic. Nice play off the bounce from him. On Eagles again, Grindle gets the outlet pass, runs the break, kicks it into high gear once he gets into the paint and lays it home. Nice touch around the hoop for the senior. End of the first now. Ellsworth with it. Grindle has it. Check out this bounce pass here. Leads Jackson Barry right to the rim, and he knows what to do with it. Finish it off for 2. A close at half, but Ellsworth wins 46-24. All right, let's go over to Hamden Academy now, where the Broncos hosted the Gardner Tigers in a battle between Class A North foes. We pick it up in the first quarter, where Brady Peacock has it, drives and dishes to Anthony Rivera for 2. That puts Gardner up 17-9. Broncos now, Aiden Kochendorfer has it, stops and gets the floater to go in the paint, trying to get them back in it. Nice finish right there. Tigers now, Braden Elliott channels his inner Showtime Lakers with the no-look pass, finds Brady Atwater for the easy layup. Hamden would come charging back, though. Kochendorfer again, who hits the smooth pull-up jumper to cut the lead to 2. And then here come the Broncos one more time. Liam Hennigan pulls up from beyond the arc and knocks down the tray to give them the lead. They go on to win by a score of 51-44. Our Gardner was on the Northern Tour tonight as their boys hockey team taking on John Bapst. We'll pick it up in the second. Crusaders on the attack, but Noah Robertson stones them with the kick save. Nice play from the goalie there. Shortly after, a Bapst defender fires one on net. Will Bourgeois is there to clean it up. That makes it 4-0 Crusaders. Here comes Bapst on the attack again now, but Robertson makes not 1, but 2, but 3 saves to keep them from adding another. But Bapst again on the rush, and look at this toe drag from Nate Marriott, and the Crusaders just missed the opportunity. Now it's Bourgeois on the breakaway now, and he puts on some sweet moves to beat the keeper. John Bapst goes on to win this one. 10-1 is the final. All right, here are some other scores from around the area. Camden Hills boys take down Nokomis 59-51. Dexter girls beat Foxcroft 41-30. Won a close one on the island, but Old Town beats MDI 40-33. Then George Stevens girls take down Orono 42-25. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
This intrigued me a little more into the engine side of things. And being able to be hands-on at all times makes it the funnest.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days, because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Get this low mileage lease on this 2025 Cadillac Lyriq Luxury One for around $569 per month. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
I'm currently enrolled in the Power Sports program. I've always been interested in four-wheelers. I plan to work in an outboard shop. This program is preparing me for that.
God and for good hair is the driving forces behind one local woman who's turning her passion into a purpose, one haircut at a time. Our Alex Schley has more.
Yeah, like a new person.
Virginia Oakes has been making people feel that way since she started Cuts for Christ in 2023.
Giving them a little bit more confidence, a little bit more hope, and something that's so simple that a lot of us take for granted.
What started as one day of service at Bangor's Day of Joy turned into Oak's lifelong mission.
We went down and blessed people with haircuts, and we did 70 haircuts in that day.
Since then, Oakes has organized hundreds of the free events all across Central Maine.
And we get to come to food pantries and go to warming shelters so we can meet them where they're at.
Tuesday's Cuts for Christ set up shop as they do every month at the Harvest Chapel's food pantry in Levant.
Yeah, you know, it's like I just told them, it's like as little bit of hair as I have on my head, I have plenty on my face. When I get that shaved, it's like I feel just refreshed.
Cuts for Christ will be at Well Warming Center in Bangor next Tuesday. For more information about the nonprofit or to find out when they'll be in your neighborhood, go to our website, foxbangor.com. In Levant, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All sorts of good deeds this morning. Wow, it fills my heart up. Okay, let's get one final look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Comfort Shoes can help you find a perfect fit for your new winter footwear. Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Here we go. A small craft advisory is posted until 11 p.m. this evening along the coast. Some gusty winds today and for parts of tonight will allow the ocean to be rather active, and it is rather active out there this morning at around 2 to 5 feet according to the buoys right nearby. Notice further out towards sea we have some buoys reporting at around 12 feet, so an active start across the ocean this morning. Meanwhile, we have some reduced visibility near the Millinocket area. I think this is definitely more snow than anything else. I don't think this is fog because we are dealing with a few snow flurries and snow showers across the area this morning. The radar and satellite showing the clouds and even a few snow flurries and snow showers tracking from the north to the south. This will be tapering off later on today with the clouds beginning to break up as well. Outside of that, most of the northeast and even the upper Midwest looking rather quiet outside this morning. So futurecast moving forward showing that partly to mostly cloudy sky today. We'll lose the clouds later on tonight, at least for most of us. The clouds will linger further off towards the north as we head towards our Thursday. A lot of sunshine to start things off. By the time we head towards Thursday night, more clouds will begin to move in, and those clouds will continue to increase as we head towards your Friday. Meanwhile, again, gusty winds up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour today. The winds will start to back off a little bit later on tonight, but even tomorrow, not looking too bad. The wind's really beginning to calm down, so a nice quiet day as we head towards your Thursday. Our average high temperature is 28 degrees. We'll be below that today and tomorrow in the lower 20s, and then we're back in the upper 20s for your Friday. Then a little warm up Saturday into Sunday, upper 30s to lower 40s. Sharp cool down Monday to Tuesday, 16 degrees Monday, 8 degrees as we head towards your Tuesday. Be ready for those cooler temperatures. So for today, we have lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy outside, and the northwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have 7 degrees, mostly clear and breezy, and the northwest wind getting up to about 20 miles per hour at times. And for tomorrow, we have lower 20s, partly cloudy with a light and variable wind. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the upper 20s, mostly cloudy Saturday with a slight chance for rain and snow showers, highs in the lower 40s, upper 30s for a Sunday under a mostly cloudy sky.
Frisky's World.
Come on, let's explore.
That's made with real salmon.
Look what I found. Little soups for cats.
There's the delicious taste of tuna we treasure.
Definitely coming back tomorrow.
Friskies, always more to explore.
It's the Furniture Gallery's anniversary sale. Celebrate with us and save big. Queen mattresses as low as $198. Want to recline? Recliners start at just $298. Or upgrade to a power recliner for just $398. Reclining sofa and recliner, just $998. The Furniture Gallery anniversary prices don't stop there. Refresh your living room. Sofas starting at just $448. Complete your bedroom, 5-piece set for only $898. Support our main family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Did he lose his shirt? I've never seen anybody lose their shirt.
I guess deny and delay didn't work today. Now look at him.
Who's the law firm?
The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
Welcome to Residential Roofers, your trusted local contractor for over 30 years. From groundwork to roofing, siding, windows, and doors, we've been transforming homes and businesses with premium craftsmanship and materials. We understand the value of your investment. That's why we're committed to your complete satisfaction, whether it's enhancing curb appeal or improving functionality. Ready to bring your vision to life? Call us today for a no-obligation free estimate at 991-1502. Trust your home to Residential Roofers.
Now we're talking. Oh.
I thought I timed it so I wouldn't have to talk to you.
A football star's sideline read becomes a best-selling book. A mental skills book, Inner Excellence, skyrocketed to the top of Amazon's bestseller list on Monday, one day after Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was caught reading it during the team's playoff game. Brown says he often reads the publication during games as a way to refocus after big plays. The book's author, Jim Murphy, says the sudden recognition is a real surprise, as the novel is usually ranked thousands of spots lower on the list. The books has received now nearly 400 reviews, and it held a rating of 4.7 out of 5 as of Monday. I absolutely love that story. You know, read when you can. There's always time here and there to read a book. Okay, looks like we're about out of time. If you missed anything, head to foxbangor.com and have a great day.
Orono Arcade has expanded, and we have dozens of new games to play. We have prize machines, including an entire section dedicated to your favorite modern games. We have games from the 80s and games from the 90s. Plus, we have the largest selection of indie arcade games in the country, along with 9-hole blacklight mini golf. We also have a brand new birthday party room. Hey, we have it all. Come on up to Orono and experience one of the most unique family entertainment centers in Maine.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Friday nights are for basketball fans. Friday Night Fast Break is your source for everything that is Maine high school basketball. Highlights and local analysis. It's the only show that hits every corner of Maine's hardwood hoop landscape, high school, college, and professional. Join us Friday night during basketball season for Friday Night Fast Break on ABC 7 News at 11. Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. The next 12 hours critical for Southern California. An update from Princess Kate.
Wide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, Bangor police are asking the public to help identify a robbery suspect based on new video from the scene. Plus, Maine health professionals gathered at the State House yesterday to protest RFK Jr.'s cabinet nomination. And the Maine Agricultural Trade Show is in its 84th year. We'll get a preview as it heads into its second day. It will go until Thursday. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this very chilly morning. It is chilly. It's going to be breezy. No more snow though. We just got a dusting yesterday. So let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Emma, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Comfort Shoes can help you find a perfect fit for your